Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hump Day, right?
Yes.
And Valentine's Day Eve. It's also known as Galentine's Day, which is...
It's not.
It is. It is.
I've been on the planet 41 years, and I've never heard that
Well,
until
you have
4
now.
days ago.
It's Parks and Rec, and it's Galentine's Day, so ladies, make sure you tell your other lady friends that you love them today. So, guys, I'm Tori Schulman. This is Albert Jackson.
I'm using my government name.
I'm sorry. And we're here at Break Room. We're here every day at 9:30, and we want to give you the top trending, exciting stories and ask your opinion on one big one.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, it says Happy Galentine's Day right there. That's great. Okay, President Trump, big news. We have an attempt to sign the agreement. We think we're going to avert a government shutdown. And we always clap when the government doesn't shut down.
Right, yeah.
Which is a sad state of affairs, but we have to clap when it doesn't shut down.
Isn't that like how people get into like gaslighting relationships? Is you eventually like make them feel like if something horrible doesn't happen, that something good has happened?
Yeah.
I mean, what if
that's very
what
true.
if it was like every 6 weeks I was like, I'm gonna go to work this weekend for 2 days, and you were like, hey, all right. You know,
Yeah,
but
you're
it's
right.
like but you're supposed to be work Monday through Friday.
That's
or
a
whatever
really
your
good point. You
schedule
get
is.
used to it, though, right?
Yes.
That's a great point. So right now, sources tell CNN that President Trump is going to sign the border security deal. He said he's, quote, not happy, but remember in his tweets he often says sad. So he's not sad, he's just not happy. The agreement includes a $1.375 billion for a border wall barrier. He was requesting $5 billion, but it falls short, of course, of $5.7 billion that he said. But it will stop the government from shutting down. They have a deadline to get the deal passed today, signed before Friday, which all of it will happen, I'm sure. There is a new thing being floated. I just want to let you guys know about Ted Cruz. It's not his original idea, but El Chapo, who was just found guilty, apparently made $14 billion in the cartel, and Ted Cruz wants to use his money for the wall.
Wow, isn't that good for Ted Cruz to decide? There's a lot of bodies on that money. That's a lot. That's a lot of blood money. And for you to immediately think, how can this help me? Not how can it go to help rebuild the communities in Mexico that have been destroyed. Help rebuild the police force to give them a fighting chance against the cartels. Because I'm sorry to tell you guys,
the DEA,
the cartels won. Usually we're so used to watching movies where the hero rides off in the sunset and the bad guy gets put into a paddy wagon. Those days are over.
Yeah.
The cartels have completely taken over different parts of this country, and we need to use some of that money to aid the soldiers to help arm themselves.
I don't even know if that's like legal, if you can take El Chapo's money that he got. I mean, maybe.
If I was a police officer and I broke into a drug dealer's apartment and I saw $500,000 there, and I was like, hey, I need to buy a new deck and redo my basement because this is drug money I can just take and I'm a cop.
I mean, I think he wants to propose a bill in legislation that says this amount of money will go to the wall. So it's going to go through Congress. It's not going to get passed, in my opinion, but we'll see what you guys think. And Kimberly agrees with you. I feel like that money could go to better things like an education system or renewable resources. Yeah, Mexico could really use some of that money, and a lot of it came from there. A lot of the bodies, as Al saying. So let us know what you guys think, and let us know what you think about the government shutdown. If you are a government worker, we especially want to hear from you. So make sure you just say government worker, hashtag DBL take, and we'll make sure to shout you guys out.
Definitely.
Were you worried? Was it a bluff? Let us know how you're feeling. We also want to let you know we have a very special guest today.
Thank you. Tori.
It's not Al. It's not Al. Every time we say that, it's not Al.
That joke never gets old, kid.
It's not. How much do I love you? I love you, and I don't cross the line. Put love and line together. You get Love Line. Who hosted Love Line? Dr. Drew is here today in the studio. And I just met him. He's awesome. I mean, I was so worried, but I was like, thank you for talking about chlamydia. That was my first words out of his head. I don't have chlamydia, but people were very open.
But now people will think you
No,
do.
I don't. What I meant is Love Line was open to teenagers who never felt comfortable talking about it. And he was a doctor that took them seriously and treated them like adults. And I think it changed our conversation about sexuality.
You think about how different things are now. Now, kids, if they do want to know about chlamydia, can go to Google. They can.
He was our Google, wasn't he?
Because we come from a generation where it was like a running joke. Dad, what's sex? Ask your mom. You know, then they hand you a goofy book with cartoon characters and some fallopian tubes, and they're like, that's sex.
Yeah.
And I think
you're
Dr.
like,
Drew's the first
whoa.
person who was like, hey, it's normal for you to feel like this. Hey, it's normal to feel like you're inadequate, or should you be having sex if your friends are? And he really brought that to the forefront. That's why it was so popular on MTV for
I
years.
agree, and he
They were
stayed
talking
popular.
Yeah, they were talking about, because he talks to you I've obviously been following him for years as well. He doesn't come from a place of judgment.
Right.
And
You're right. Like you want your doctor to be.
Right.
Right.
It's not like, well, premarital sex, any bad thing can happen. It's like, stop.
Let's
He's just
talk.
like, did you have sex? Yes. What are you feeling now? I feel something's wrong down there. Well, what do you see?
Exactly.
It's okay.
He's like the ideal kind of doctor, too. He also talked to me a lot about Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, and the new book by Ron Chernow. Not new, but we had a long laugh about reparations and how awful the idea that people think slavery just went from Emancipation Proclamation to all happiness, and everyone forgets about that middle part with the Jim Crow and all of that.
Yes.
So we had a long talk
Black
about this.
codes.
Yes, exactly. And the lynch mobs, really, in that time period. So he's very interesting, and he still practices being a doctor every other day. He has like a 3-day-a-week practice. So amazing guy. He's going to be in there. Kelly is saying...
Isn't it interesting that somebody like Dr. Drew can exist where he's like a TV show host, is still a real doctor.
Isn't he cool?
Father of triplets, I think. Doesn't he have triplets?
I don't know. He rides
twins
a
or triplets.
unicycle.
And it's like, then you just, at the same time, there's a guy in his bathrobe watching a
like
rerun
us.
of Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, you're right.
You know? It's just interesting.
Buy a vowel. So, guys, part of the digital breaks, and all day today, we're going to be getting love questions from you. So I'm going to start off asking questions, but we already have a lot of you wrote in at info@dailyblastlive.com for Dr. Drew. And write what Al said. It's no judgment. So now's your time. And if you want to be anonymous, just simply say that. I will, of course, honor anything like that. But we want honesty here, and we want to give you the respect you deserve as a viewer and get you some real answers to questions you might not be having. I want to say hi from Kansas City. What's up, Corliss Ray?
Lots of good times in Kansas City. I had a lot of fun there.
This is my Kansas City. Good ribs, great ribs.
Yeah, Power and Light District.
I don't know what that means, but woohoo. Guys, 5th host, which is, of course, we have 4 people on the panel. Well, 5 today. So you're our 6th host today. We love that, but we want to know something. Would you support a law, I'm going to call it the alienation of affection law, okay? So start thinking what you think that means. It allows a spouse to sue a third party who breaks up a marriage. So mistresses, cabana boys, all these people could be sued for breaking up the marriage. Now, I want to know what you guys think. North Carolina is one of 6 states that it was allowing the alienation of affection lawsuit. So would you support the law in your states? Do you think that law deters people from getting involved with a married person? We're going to ask Drew this as well. What do you think, Al?
I think that's not going to work. I think that it's never just that black and white. What if it's just an office romance and never goes anywhere, but eventually leads to a divorce, and the wife can go, well, you flirted with my husband or my wife.
You're like, where's the line?
Where's the line? Is it only intercourse? Is it, I don't understand. And again, it's so interesting. I always come back to this. Everybody's like, the government's in everything. I can't do anything. We want smaller government, smaller government, smaller government. But when it comes to morality issues, now people are like, I want the government to decide that I can sue you if you do something that's against my morals.
Interesting. Well, Kat Van Kirk from Facebook says, come on, people, just be faithful or break it off. This is insane. Ellen Hunt says, why don't you sue your spouse if anyone knows they're married? It's not them, it's the other person. Just so you know, Ellen, you can. Adultery is illegal in many, many states, and you can sue for adultery. David Valadez says, safest bet would not to be get married in the first place. Happy Valentine's Day, David.
We're laughing, but a lot of millennials aren't because they saw
He's right.
what marriage did to their parents and their parents. You should be able to leave another human being if whatever. Look, some people are unstable. Sometimes you're the unstable one.
You're right. That's true. I want to read this from Elizabeth Riley. Thanks for writing in. This is so funny. I used the information I gained about the other in the divorce. I have my house, and he was not able to take any equity. I proved he spent it on the other. Silver lining. Get this, you guys. Now I'd like to send the other a thank you card for taking the trash out for me. Or should I send a sympathy card? Hashtag tag you're it. Hashtag you wanted that.
Wow. See?
Shots fired.
There you go.
Love it. Love it.
Looks like somebody's happier and better off. So
yeah, Kim says it wouldn't stop anybody. Speeding is against the law and people still do it. Gina Perry from Twitter says possibly, but doesn't it take more than the third person to break up a marriage? And my question is, do you then depose the psychiatrist and say, was this the person that broke up your marriage? Like, how do you prove that?
I don't know. It's very difficult. And like, what if the partner what if the spouse that's cheating cheats with multiple partners? Like, I don't know. Are you gonna have a class action lawsuit against half of Green Bay, Wisconsin, because your husband was a Rolling Stone?
Operation Rolling Stone. That's hilarious. And Hawaii, the cheating partner is the only person liable in my book. This is from Bin31. I don't know what third party knows of the relationship. I have to say, I don't know. Again, this feels to me like the line would be too fuzzy. Does that make sense?
It would, because what if there's a lot of people that are air quotes homeworkers that don't know. They're like, I'm dating this great guy.
Yeah.
He lives in Boston. I live in Philly, but I go up every weekend, and then, oh, I wonder why I've never met his friends, and oh, I wonder, and so like you might not know. So there's something we call plausible deniability, where you go, I didn't know he was married.
And you can really take care of that. You can really work that. Margaret DeLong from Facebook, alienation of affection lawsuit should include the unfaithful spouse as well, because it's not right to blame only the other person for his or her adulterous affairs. It takes two to
tango.
That's right. She said rumba. No, I'm kidding. She said tango. All right, guys, we have to end this a little bit early because we have a very special assignment that we're doing. But stay tuned. Keep writing us in about the fifth host, and stay tuned for one, Mr. Dr. Drew Pinsky.
Yes.
All right, let's get straight into it. Last night's episode was another crazy one.
Yeah.
Typical Bachelor fashion. Sydney left, and Elise left the episode before that. So that's 2 for Colton.
Yeah.
You actually had Lace leave on her own. So what's that like when one of the contestants leave on their own?
It's tough, man. It's really hard because it's a shot to your confidence. You're a confident guy.
Yeah.
I balance, it out a little bit, but I was not confident as the Bachelor. I walked into a room full of 27 beautiful people, and I was like, I don't belong here. And so then when one of them comes up to you and you're like, yeah, actually, you don't. I'm going to go home. It hurts. It hurts deep. And I think now for Colton to have it happen twice, I think it hurts him. But here's also the side of this that we haven't seen. You can tell he wasn't into those 2 women.
Exactly.
So I think if it was a woman that he really cared about, it would hurt him more. I don't think it does that much. I think he's like, all right, well, we're fine here.
Thank you next.
Yeah, thank you next. Yeah.
All right, Demi was sent home packing after she said that she was actually falling for Colton.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Dude, I love Demi. I think it's the craziest thing. She was supposed to be the villain. I know that when she was on the show, everybody thought, first couple episodes, this is going to be our villain. And she ended up, really growing on me. My co-host on a podcast I do calls her, a pest, but, a really adorable pest. And she kind of was. That was a sad moment. I thought Demi really made this season better.
Yeah.
I thought she added a new personality. I thought she was, excruciatingly honest the whole time.
Which is great.
Which is awesome for this show. But that was tough because you saw for the first time, some real true emotion out of Demi. And those are the moments that just make you kind of sit back and go, oh, that's sad. Because she really was sad. She was hurting. It was the first time we saw her really hurt on this season.
Do you feel as though you connect with her because you told 2 women that you love them on the show? So do you think there's a connection there? Do you feel for her?
I feel for her. She was laying her heart on the line.
Yeah.
And I think anytime somebody does that, and we have to watch it, right? If it's in real life or if it's on reality television, when somebody lays their heart on the line and we know that's happening, the audience can feel it. That's why people love The Bachelor and Bachelorette, because when the Bachelor or Bachelorette, the lead, is vulnerable and honest, the audience relates and is attracted to them. When a contestant does the same thing, we go, yeah, I'm in it with her in this moment. So then when that heart is broken, most of us have had heartbreak. I'd say most of the population has had heartbreak. And so when we see that happen, we hurt for them. We feel it.
Yeah, people can really resonate with that. And they're, in a way, happier that it's them instead of themselves actually being hurt.
I think you're right, but I also think that the audience, what I'm noticing from the reactions now on social media, is the audience actually sometimes wishes it was them. They wish they would have carried that burden, right? Wow. They say, wow, I feel terrible for Demi, or I feel so sad for Elise, or whoever that is. Yeah. They feel it for them. And very few people are going, I'm glad it's them and not me. Yeah. I think it's maybe a shift is whereas we're watching these characters, we're living vicariously through them.
Well, this season is getting a lot of buzz on social media. It's going pretty well. How do you feel the season's going?
Well, I think it's what we want in a Bachelor or Bachelorette season. We've had a couple, right? The Bachelorettes recently have just crushed it. The Bachelors, have struggled at times, especially when it comes to kind of the audience response.
Okay.
But Colton stayed true to himself, right? He's not doesn't have the most swag. He's not the most confident. He's not amazing around women.
Yeah.
But he's not hiding that. He's not trying to be anything he's not. So, and I think as the audience is falling in love with the fact that, that's Colton. He's going to struggle to talk to a woman. He's going to struggle to kiss a woman. He's going to get overly excited when a woman's good looking. But he's Colton. And I think that's the thing that people are loving. And also on social media, I think the cast this year is very relatable. Mm-hmm. We've gotten to know some of their stories. Some of those stories are ones that a lot of the population relates with. I mean, I'm thinking of Kaylin, right? Kaylin made national news for admitting that she'd been sexually assaulted. And as she spoke about that, it opened up a whole new dialogue and conversation for the masses to talk about, right? I mean, women and men everywhere, have suffered and become survivors from some stuff like Kaylin suffered by. And now with her talking about it on reality television, it allows us to talk about it freely. So it's just kind of been a season that I feel like the public has been able to relate with in a lot of ways, good and bad.
They're loving the transparency. Like
Yeah.
you said, Colton's being transparent, Kaylin's being transparent. So what type of advice did you give to Colton? I mean, I know you were with him last night at the Legacy Foundation. So how's that relationship going? And like I said, what type of advice have you kind of gave him to help him throughout this entire journey?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Colton's a lot like you. He's a former athlete.
Yep.
He works really hard.
Yep.
You know, The Bachelor was something, he didn't hide it. He wanted to be The Bachelor. This was something he desired for a couple reasons.
And you have to want to, right?
You have to want it because it's a hard job. And he not only wanted it to maybe find somebody, but also because it does enhance the life that you already had. But the switch for me isn't who you are as The Bachelor. I don't care about that anymore. I used to be a massive fan of just watching them. It's who are you going to be afterwards?
Yeah.
Colton is a man who cares a lot about his foundation. He's a man that cares a lot about the people around him. He's a good, solid person. He's young, just like I was. And so what I care about as a former Bachelor, and maybe it's my only role now, and my only way to stay in the franchise is to say, who are you going to be after this? Don't lose yourself. Stay true to who you always want to be. And when I talk to any Bachelor or Bachelorette before they even go on the season, the only thing I really want to tell them is, okay, where do you want this to go? Not, what do you want to accomplish and who do you want to meet and how much money do you want to make? Who do you want to be in 20 years? And allow this to continue down that path. So that's my only advice to Colton. Continue down that path.
And I don't think a lot of people go into it thinking about how they're going to use their platform after.
Yeah.
They're just in it. Oh, I'm going to trips to Vietnam. I'm going to trips to Thailand. They're just in it to win it. And so a lot of people are talking about, and well, you just kind of talked about telling Colton stay true to who he is. And obviously the buzz is the virginity thing. So do you think we see a proposal, or do you think we have a better chance of seeing him losing his virginity?
I have a feeling you don't see either, and I don't know that. I have zero insight into that. I don't want to put him in that situation to even ask him last night. That's not something that I'm going to try to get into, but I don't think we see either. I think this season is going to be shocking in the sense of, I'm just going from previews. We see him bawling, we see him crying, we see him hopping over a fence, and I don't think a lot of the time The Bachelor is great at teasing things that actually don't happen.
Yeah.
I think there's something true in that moment, right? You see Chris Harrison's face go away from being a host. Hey, Colton, where are you going? Like, this isn't good. Like, stop. Don't run away. You're a fast guy. Like, you're. And I think we saw him leave his host stand, and when it happens, something major happens at this season. But I don't know.
Give me something.
I really don't know.
Nothing at
I have
all.
no clue. I have no idea. And the virginity thing, I doubt, even if he did lose it, that we would know. I don't think he would. He's a private guy. I don't think he would talk about it.
Yeah, which is a smart man. As soon as you put that out there, you're just open to all types of ridicule, that sort of thing. So, all right, let's move on from Colton. Let's talk about my guy here, guy Ben Higgins, because I thought you helped me during my dating experience for the show here, the ultimate wingman. But now, it's that sad day where I hear you're dating someone now. So no more wingman. What's that been like?
It's been awesome, right? I didn't really mean for it to become public, and there's a couple reasons. So I have a podcast on iHeartRadio, and I had just mentioned to Colton actually in conversation, hey, I don't know if you're with somebody or not, but if you are, it changes life up a bit. It shakes things up, and I said, I'm actually dating somebody now exclusively, and we just talked about it for a second, right? Well, then it becomes public. And I am. I'm not hiding it. But there's a level too, right? Where we started dating mid-December. So it's fresh and it's new.
Yeah.
I don't want to put the pressure on this new relationship. That's the thing about now going on this show. People really care about who you're dating and why you're dating them. That's great. I love that people care about my life. But it also then puts an enormous amount of pressure on somebody who just wants to try to figure out if you're the right person or not. What happens if we announce that we're dating, and a week later things don't work out, and for whatever reason, right? We're 2.5 months into a relationship. Now what? We have to explain that we've now ended it. Like that's just a ton
That's just a lot of
to kind of go
pressure,
through.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm very happy. Life's really good, and not only is the relationship part something I'm proud about because it took me a long time, and now I'm just starting to feel like, hey, I can do this again and do it well. I've dated before, but this is one that I'm like, hey, I can actually try to do this thing.
Well, that goes into when you were saying when you were The Bachelor, how you were saying you weren't lovable. Do you feel as though the ups and downs of dating have made you lovable, and now you feel as though you can be that right person for the person you're with now?
Yeah, you know, what I've realized is I've never felt unlovable. I said it. I actually was lying to the masses. I felt isolated,
sometimes.
you know?
Okay.
Like, I didn't know myself. What I
Okay.
really was feeling was I was saying, I feel really isolated. I feel alone. And I don't know if anybody's ever going to come into my silo and make me feel wanted again. So I think dating helps that. I think when you have somebody look at you and go, yeah, you're messed up. Like, yes, you've got faults. Yes, you're not going to be good looking all the time, but I'm going to care about you. I think that's when things change.
And you were talking about, I think I read a People magazine interview saying that communication is key. So how have you worked on communication from being on The Bachelor to after to now and actually being in a relationship?
Yeah. You know, the best part is not hiding anything. That's the one way, you know, it used to be, I used to always be in my own head in high school and college and after college. When I would go on dates, what should I say, what should I not say, how should I say it, how can I be smoother, how can I say it better, how can I seem more elegant? Like, those things were always in my head. I remember that. Yeah. And be on The Bachelor and having a camera in your face all the time, you kind of lose that. You just don't have the ability to be in your own head asking those questions. And so now, I guess my theory with communication is to be as honest as possible, as vulnerable as possible, and as open as possible all the time. Because if you're living a life with a bunch of stuff to hide and you're ashamed to talk about it, those are probably things you should be talking about anyways. Yeah. So for me, in my relationships moving forward, my friendships moving forward with my family, I want to try to be myself and be my open self all the time, no matter what.
It's scary being transparent in this dating world now, because you feel like someone can go on social media, someone can go on some sort of dating app and kind of see on a superficial level what they want. But then you're trying to be open and honest to someone, and they may look at you in a certain way. So what type of advice could you give to someone who has a problem being transparent and really being vulnerable when it comes to being in a relationship?
Yeah, you know, I would only tell somebody to sit in what you're most ashamed of or what you're most scared to talk about, and just know you're not alone.
We all have faults.
We all have faults, right? You're going to sit there and, you know, you're going to feel insecure and you're going to question things about yourself, and that's fine. But sit in that and just know that when you do start feeling that way and you do start, you know, closing up, that you're not alone in that. That somebody sitting across the table from you probably feels the same way. And if they don't accept it, they're probably not the right person for you anyways. Friendships or relationships or whatever that is. And so there's a confidence there. There's a confidence in our weakness that I think is really important when it comes to now expressing ourselves in communication.
I like that. There's a confidence in our weakness. If you see me post that on social media, don't worry, I'll give you the credit for that. All right, last question. Valentine's Day is coming up. One, what are your special plans? And two, do you feel as though there's pressure since you're freshly in a relationship?
Yeah, no pressure at all, because I'm actually leaving tomorrow for Honduras. We've got coffee farms to go visit.
Nice.
So I'm leaving the country for Valentine's Day. I'm running far away. I don't feel a pressure every year, and I know that you love your mother dearly. Every year, no matter what, I'll send my mom flowers for Valentine's Day, and I hope to do that forever. And then I guess now it's a 2-for-1 deal. I'll just buy 2 flowers and send it 2 different directions. But there's not a pressure, because I'm not a big fan of card holidays. I want to show my love in some way throughout the year. I hope it's a constant reminder for everybody to get random gifts. I think it's a weird feeling to have this day that we all are expected to do something. It feels less authentic to me.
That's what I say.
So I'll skip Valentine's Day. I'll send a text out or something, and I'll focus more on, like, mid-year. I'll do something nice.
What are your favorite things or favorite qualities about your new special lady?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think I've always been interested in somebody with empathy. Nice. Empathy is so attractive to me because it pushes me to be more empathetic. Sometimes, you know, my struggles have been that I judge too quickly, or I react in a negative way. So when you're with somebody that's empathetic and slow to speak, slow to anger, patient and kind, it pushes you to do that the same. Because you don't want to be, it rubs off on you. You don't want to be the person being like, oh man, that person's crazy, they're psycho, they're, you know, whatever, and then, you know, your partner responds with like, but do you know their story? And you're like, man, no, I feel like a jerk. Yeah, you want to stop doing that after a while. So it teaches you to be a better person. So for me, my favorite quality is just an enormous level of empathy and patience and kindness that rubs off and makes me a better man.
Thanks for dropping by, DBL.
Yeah.
Great luck in this new relationship, and RIP to my wingman.
That's right. Thanks, man.